Hi, this is Robin Thomas, and I'm the founder of Living Will Connections. Today, I'm so thrilled that Liz Bull is able to give us a wonderful lesson just on living life to your full spectrum. So I can't wait. A little bit about Liz. Let me find it. She has about a mile long certifications. It's wonderful. She's a certified life mastery consultant, a business hypnotist, a master bioenergy healer, and author. And she is also a medical intuitive, a certified full spectrum healer, master Theta Healer, certified Virtual Gastric Band practitioner, and Biofield Healer. So when we chatted, Liz said she just is a nerd about learning. And I am too, but I think she's got me beat. So all to do, Liz, we're welcome. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. And you can begin.
All right, and I'll do it. So good morning, everybody. I'm really thrilled to be here, and thank you, Robin, for inviting me to this fabulous group. Love you. I love you guys. It's so nice to see my friends here. That's great. So before we get started, like I say, grab some paper and pencil or pen, whatever it is, because we are going to be working. These are interesting times, and my intention is that you leave here knowing 3 tools that can help you survive and thrive and create a full spectrum life, even when the world is shaking. And Lord knows the chandeliers are jiggling right now. So, but to do this, I'm going to start with a little story. So Mabel and George are celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. And they're sitting on the porch and they're holding hands. And George says, Mabel, remember when we were starting out and our barn caught fire? And we lost everything. And well, you were right there by my side. And remember when we lost all that money and you were right by my side? And then remember that time when I almost died and you were right there? Well, yes, George, she says, and she's getting a little misty. And he says, well, Mabel, I've decided that you are bad luck. So, like George, many of us think that life happens to us. But the truth is it happens through us. See, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, and actions produce results. And if you want to know what you've been thinking, then just look at what you have in your life. Now, many of us, how many of you have a goal that you'd like to achieve in some area of your life? Anybody? You got something you want to do? All right, fantastic. Now, how many of you have ever achieved a goal or a dream in your life that when you first had that thing, you didn't know how you were going to be able to achieve it? Anybody? Yeah, See, that proves a point. We are all capable of far more than we know, far more. And what I've learned with working with so many people is that often our dreams and our goals are born out of challenges we're facing or pain we're currently experiencing or stuff like COVID-19, which, I mean, a lot of people are having to rethink a lot of things right now because things have tanked in one area or another of their lives. So how many of you have a challenge you're currently experiencing? Some area of your life where you're not exactly a happy camper. Anybody? Anybody got anything? It's like, it could be better over here. Well, maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's the amount of money you have or lack of free time. See, we live in a universe that speaks to us through 2 growth signals, our longings and our discontents. That's the way it works. It's the feeling of longing for something that we haven't yet created, or a feeling of discontentment with the current circumstance that actually sparks us to grow. Otherwise, we just stay still. We don't do anything. These are 2 energies, the pain of the problem, the burning desire for what you want are essential for creating new results. So I'd like to share with you a time in my life where pain pushed me to make a change. I was working for a bank in Montreal, manager of training and development. Great money, great benefits, and I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And those of you who know me can totally see this. That was the discontent. I did not fit in that culture. I am not a blue suitor. I mostly felt like an alien or an imposter. I tell you, and the corporate politics, not my thing. Now, the longing had been around for a long time. I wanted a Master of Fine Arts. So there I was scared, I was frustrated, angry, I was worried, and stuck. Like I didn't know what to do because I was paid well and I had great benefits. And one night I was listening to a lecture at the Harvard Club about how people delay real life, meaning doing what they would really like to do until they retire. And then what the presenters said was, well, what if you get run over by a bus? Well, I lived in a city. There were a lot of buses. This was a real possibility. So every hair stood up on the back of my neck. I mean, seriously, because that is exactly what I had been doing, putting off real life. And in that moment, I decided, I'm out of here. And let me tell you, as soon as I had that thought, oh my gosh, the fear rose up and gripped my stomach. Like, oh Lord, how was it going to work out? I thought, how in the world am I going to do this? I have a mortgage. I have bills to pay. Maybe I'm too old. I mean, I was like 30 something, right? Can I even get in? Yada, 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 yada. I was uncertain. I was scared. And what if I failed? There was a part of me arguing for why I couldn't, why it wasn't a good time, why it wasn't convenient, and it sure wasn't going to be easy. And then another part of me knew that great opportunities never show up when it's convenient or comfortable. Great things occur on the other side of what's comfortable. So how many of you have noticed that? Anybody notice that? Yeah, I kind of figured that. And so I decided to let the part of me that really wanted that dream win over the part of me that was absolutely terrified. I wish I could say that this happened immediately, that I just took the bull by the horns, and quit my job the next day, but it didn't. It didn't exactly happen that way. No. I dragged my feet for a bit. And then the universe took over, as only the universe can. And this is from the You Can't Make This Stuff Up department. Within months, the bank reorganized and I was out of a job with a fabulous severance package. And within a year, the bank had failed and had gone out of business. So imagine if I had waited to retire. Imagine. So now the path was wide open for me. And I went for it. And I have to tell you that things that should never have happened did. The application deadline for the design school it was long past. I got in anyway, and I secured the last spot in the class. I finished first in my class that year. And later I was able to transfer to Parsons School of Design in New York. Again, deadlines had passed, and I still got in, and I did really well in the MFA program. And in the end, I became an award-winning lighting designer. Until, once again, there was discontent because I had discovered I had other gifts and I wanted to share them, and I had become really intrigued with energy work and healing. And so I enrolled and went through rigorous training in a number of modalities, including full spectrum healing and hypnosis, and I became a certified life mastery consultant. So I attended intensive and lengthy certification trainings, and I discovered that there are, elegant, reliable, repeatable systems for how to turn your dreams into reality, based on many, many years of research and using some success principles to turn desires into reality. And I applied this proven system to my life. living my dream as a medical intuitive, a healer, and life coach, a career that I really love it. I have, deep, rich, meaningful relationships that I cherish, and my health is better than ever. And I'm able to serve clients I love and help incredible people like you discover, design, and then live their dream life, clearing out any of the hidden blocks along the way. As the song goes, I love my life. And I would not be here today without these technologies. So in the program that I use, there are a number of principles that will skyrocket you to success. I'm going to give you three of them today that you can apply right now, right here, right now, to help you create a life you absolutely love, a full spectrum life. So if you're in for that possibility of creating something even more amazing in your life, say, I'm in. And if you just said, I'm in, does that mean from this moment on your dreams come true? Well, not exactly. Of course not. It's just the first step. But I promise you, I'm going to give you everything I can in the time we have together. And at the end, many of you might want to take this information further and integrate it into your life. And I have a gift for you that you'll absolutely love. I'll give you that at the end. So let's get going. How many of you have ever put together a jigsaw puzzle? Anybody ever put together a jigsaw puzzle? Okay, great. Or maybe some furniture from IKEA. Anybody like that? Okay, now imagine doing it, but you don't have the picture for the puzzle. No picture. Somebody threw out the box, you just have the pieces. How long do you think it would take you to do that puzzle? Everybody's calculating the days, I can tell.
It would take me forever. It would take my son no time at all.
Yeah, well, he's special. We know that.
He thinks differently.
Assuming that you got it done at all, do you think it would be faster if you had the picture? Yes or yes, right? Or how about that furniture? Do you think it would be faster if you had the illustrated instructions so you could see the pattern? Yes or yes. So what would be the difference? What changed? Having the picture or the illustration expanded your awareness of the pattern of how to create the results. In other words, the pattern for success. And this proves a point. See, every one of you can improve results you're getting in your life when you expand your awareness of the pattern for how to create the results. And that's what we're going to learn today with the results formula. So there are four main domains, there are four domains in your life, the principal ones. There's health and well-being, there's love and relationships, there's vocation, meaning from vocare, which means calling, not just a job or a career, and time and money freedom. And every one of you has results in each of these areas of life. The results you're getting in your life in these areas are a perfect reflection of your awareness in these areas. So let's expand our awareness together by studying the pattern that creates our results, or what I call the results formula. So the formula begins like this. Your thoughts, what's going on up here, cause your feelings. So imagine the thought, I lost my wallet. I lost my wallet. You feel fear, you feel stress. And then you think, it's on the kitchen counter. And you go and you find it there. And you feel relieved and relaxed. You can breathe. So now imagine the thought going on vacation, or maybe you're down at the beach with Deb. Or maybe you just closed a sale. How do you feel? Excited, energized, right? Your thoughts literally affect your physiology, and feelings cause actions. So how do feelings get expressed in your actions? So try this out. And I know everybody's sitting down, but you can do it the best you can here. So put on the physical posture and facial expression of someone who is depressed. So what starts to happen? You're hunched over, right? Okay. Then shake that out and put on the body position of someone who's confident and happy and just had a major success. So your chin is up here. It's not up here. That's a little weird. But here, right? Your chest is back. You feel expanded and you can breathe. Interesting. So that's how it works. When we feel confident, we feel energized. We feel different. And so when you feel different, you take different action than when you feel depressed or frustrated or sad. It's a whole other ball game. So the actions then cause results. And that's the law of cause and effect. And yet most people, like George, don't get this. Most people just look at the results. They look at their circumstances, the stuff that was around it, their conditions, and they call those their causes. And actually, it's usually their causes. You know, I can't start a new career because I'm too old, or because I lose all my benefits. I can't find the love of my life because I'm, too fat, I'm not young enough, thin enough, attractive enough, whatever. It's because. But the true cause of results is right here. Your thoughts. And your results are caused by what you've been thinking. And most of these thoughts, now this is the kicker, kids, this is the kicker. Most of these thoughts are subconscious. You don't even know you're thinking them. You don't. Which is why I incorporate energy work in my program. I'm not, that's like the kind of coach that says, well, you do this and you do this and you do this. No. We don't do that. We look at what's really going on underneath the hood that's causing this stuff to stay in place. And what's underneath achieving, it's like underneath the underneath, right? Of what's been keeping my clients from achieving what they say they want to achieve, mostly in the area of weight loss, but in a number of other areas as well. So I want you to know if you want to know what you've been thinking, then look at your results. Because your results never lie. Your results never lie, like your body never lies. Your results never lie. So if we want to create new results in our life, we have to begin by looking at our thinking, where our thinking comes from, and how our minds create a thought. And as I said, much of it's unconscious, and that's how I help my clients. And I'm lucky to speak to different groups, and often someone will ask me to come to their group and present, which I'm always happy to do. And whenever I do, one of the exercises I have them do is this one. So here we go. First, I'd like you to look around the room where you are and pick a color you see a lot of. Ready? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to look around the room where you are and count everything that's that color. Doesn't matter what it is, just that color, that one, that there's a lot of it. Okay. Just write down the number. Okay, everybody got it? So just try to remember everything that color is. Just remember, look around. Okay. Now, close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, I'd like you to bring to mind all of the red items you saw. Now, raise your hand if you saw more of the color you chose than red. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's hands is up. So now I'd like you to open your eyes. Okay, so look with your eyes open, of course. Look and see if there are any red items in the room. Okay, so how many see more red than they saw before, assuming there was red there at all? Exactly. So why is this? This is a crazy phenomenon. Why is this? There is an area in our brains called the reticular activating system. And its job is to bring into our awareness what it is we're looking for and what we're focused on. and to filter out what we're not looking for. Most of us, we're taught to focus on what's reasonable, what's safe, why we can't, what's missing, what problems there are, and why it won't work. And to change results, we have to start by changing our focus. Henry Ford had a wonderful, he said, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. Another way of putting this, and this comes from driving school, don't look where you don't want to go. Yeah, really. Okay? Yeah. Highly successful people begin with the end in mind. They become clear on what they really want. And remember, where your attention goes, I know you know this, energy flows. You begin to see resources and opportunities that other people miss. And this brings us to the first secret of having a full spectrum life, and that is designing a dream. So this is a pencil and paper piece. So what do you want? What would you love for your life? And write this down. Clarity is power. Clarity is power. If you want to build a house, you have to have a clear blueprint. Same thing with a dream. When you become clear on what you really want, what you would love in life, you begin to see opportunities and circumstances and resources that you would otherwise have missed. So let's design the blueprint for your dream and make it crystal clear. Consider the 4 domains in your life. There's health and well-being, love and relationships, your vocation. Remember, this is about something that calls to you, not just your job or career, and your time and money freedom. So just pick one for today, just one, that you would love to improve the most. And don't worry, you can totally apply this exercise to all the areas later. But for now, just pick one. And now, give yourself permission to imagine that nothing is impossible and no dream is too big. I know that all of you have a rich imagination, so go for it. So now ask a simple question. What would I love? And you can put your hand over your heart to this one. It's like really, tune into your heart. What is your heart's desire here? This is very different compared to what do I think I can do? What does the economy say I can do? What does my current situation say I can do? What do other people think I should do? I love this quote. Martin Luther King's mentor, he had a mentor, said to him, don't ask what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. I love that. And then go do that, because the world needs is people who have come alive. The world needs more people who have come alive. So just take a moment and write down, just adjust down a few sentences. What do you want? What would you love? What would you absolutely love? Circumstances don't matter. So what would you love? And I'm going to take you through a process called a time machine. You're going to be getting into a time machine and traveling 3 years into the future. And 3 years from now, everything you wanted completely worked out. But first, I'd like you to take your pen and paper and write, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then fill in the blank of whatever that was. The top of the paper.
Liz, I write this every single day.
I love that. I love it. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to write down what you would love in this area of life and to complete that sentence. So I'd like you to suspend the urge to figure out the how, right? And how is this going to happen? This is simply what you would love. As if someone gave you a magic wand and you could create exactly what you wanted. So dream big here. Okay, now to the time machine. Here we go. Close your eyes, please, and take a deep breath. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine it's 3 years from today, and everything has worked out. All the challenges are solved. You're considering what you would love for your life. If you could wave a magic wand, what great things are occurring for you? If you couldn't fail, what would you love to be doing? What experiences are you having? Who are you with? See it. How does it feel? Feel it. And now open your eyes. I'm going to take 2 minutes and write as much as you can, painting a beautiful picture of the life you're imagining. Go. Okay, you got 30 seconds left. Okay, here we go. Moving on, put your pens down. Nicely done, nicely done. We're on our way. This is the beginning, just the beginning of designing a life you would love. And I know you might not know how this dream is going to happen, and that's okay for now. You have to be willing to suspend the need to know the how at the beginning of the process. Don't worry, we will get there, I promise. So now that you have the start of a clearly defined dream, let's move on to principle number 2. So best-selling author and coach Bob Proctor, he says this. He says, there's a single mental move you can make, which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter, and it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magical mental activity. It's called decision. I love that. So that's principle number 2, is deciding for your dream. You have to make a firm decision of what it is you want, what you would love, before you will bring your dream into reality. Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, after studying 25,000 men and women, concluded that highly successful people make decisions quickly and change them seldom, if ever, and unsuccessful people made decisions slowly and changed them frequently. So they were back and forth, waffle, waffle, waffle. And it's the decisions we make that shape our lives. You have to be willing to sign your name to the thing you want and take action in the absence of knowing all the steps if you want to have your dream. Nothing happens without a decision. And once you make a firm decision, even in the absence of perfect conditions, all kinds of things begin to occur and rush to your aid for the fulfillment of that decision. Kind of like the bank going, right? Just like my gaining admission to design school after the deadline had passed twice and getting a nice severance package. And here's what happened to a guy I know, John. This is a true story. A crazy story. You just can't make this stuff up. My buddy John was newly married and living in Mexico. And one of the first things he wanted to do was to buy a home. Now in Mexico, they don't have mortgage financing. They didn't then, and they're still saying, eh. So people, what they do is they get a piece of land and they self-finance. They just use whatever they have, like, cardboard, plywood, whatever. They build something to live in. And all over Mexico, you see these partially completed funky houses. It takes them years to complete them. Now, his wife was not interested in, cardboard and plywood. So they were renting. But one day, a developer came to town and offered private financing. So they got a little house overlooking the bay in Cabo. So far, so good. Until they had twins. And this cute little house became a very cramped and uncomfortable place. So John started looking around for some houses that would be big enough. However, there still wasn't any mortgage financing, and there was no way to make the numbers just didn't work. One day on his way home, after a year of struggling with this, he was thinking, the kids are going to be running around the house, and he was going to have to, hole up in his bedroom to have any peace and quiet at all. And he just had this kind of, sick feeling, like no way out, no way he could see to fix this situation. And he thought, maybe I should just be okay with being a bit miserable. After all, I got healthy kids, great job, wonderful wife. I got it good. Maybe in 5 more years. And he decided in that moment to settle. Maybe you've had that moment, felt guilty for wanting more because things are actually kind of good. So he got kind of numb to the whole situation. And some months later, he heard a quote that changed things for him. The enemy of great is not bad. The enemy of great is good. And he thought, it's easy to settle for good when what I really want is great. And some of you have it really good right now, and yet there's a part of you calling for more, right? There's a part of you that wants more in some area of your life, your version of great. Well, 2 months later, John's mother comes to visit. And one evening, they're sitting out on the little balcony overlooking the bay, and the sun was going down, and she asked John, so what's next? And John thought, what do you mean what's next? You mean like we're going to finish the evening, and tomorrow morning I get up and go to work, and I'm going to take you to the airport? That's what's next. And I'm sure you've heard that very few people actually live 90 years. Most people live 1 year, the same year, 90 times. It's like Groundhog Day, right? And this was the mindset that John was in, grind, grind, grind. So John said, I don't know, what do you mean what's next? I'm going around the same year 90 more times. That's what I'm doing. And she said, no, John, let me ask you differently. If you could do or have anything, what would you love? And so he said, I'll tell you what I'd love. Said, I would love a new home. And she said, well, what would it look like? And like any good man, he says, well, big, my office here and, the kitchen's over there and the kids' room and that like that. And she said, well, tell me more. Get a piece of paper, something to write with, So he grabs, first being a guy, right? He grabs a paper napkin. And she says, draw something for me. And so they started drawing, and he actually started to get excited as he was describing his dream. It was starting to come into focus for him. And John had a lot of reasons why things were the way they were, why this was never going to happen. And in truth, he had lost hope. And she said, okay, I understand there's a lot of circumstances and conditions as to why you haven't been able to achieve this dream yet. Would you like some help? And John thought, well, now that I've tried everything else, I may as well, none of that worked. I may as well listen to you. So, think about it. How many times are we in that position where, we want to do it on our own, go Lone Ranger, right? And that's exactly what he was doing. So it was a big step for him to listen carefully as she said, what could you do? I love this. What could you do where you are with what you have? The key here is remembering that you always have way more than you recognize. We all do. So in a duh moment, John realized that he already had a lovely piece of land overlooking the Land's End in Cabo. He had bought it as an investment, but he had the land, for heaven's sake. Shortening the story by quite a bit, he decided to go up to the land with his napkin every day and visualize and think about what it would be like to pull into the driveway and walk up and hear the kids playing and, how it would feel in this house, right? He was actually building a relationship with this dream, with this vision that he had. He was building a relationship with it. And that's a key piece. So far, so good, but still no house. So a visit back to the States, his mom says, so how's your vision coming? And he said, oh, great. He says, I know exactly what it's going to look like. I've got it. And essentially she said, what can you do with where you are with what you have? What she really said was, if you gave a builder that napkin, would they be able to build your house? And he said, no, of course not. I need a real set of plans. And she said, well, so get your plans. So John called an architect who quoted him $15,000, and he called his mom. He says, Mom, he wants $15,000 for a set of plans. And she said, well, do you have the $15,000? And he said, well, yeah, about everything I got. And she said, well, you're never going to get the house built without the plans. And he said, why would I get plans for a house I have no way to build? She's his mom, right? So she said, well, they're never going to build it without the plans. And she said, trust the process, John, just trust the process. So, and then she said one more thing. She said, as you're doing these plans, I want you to really start noticing what you're noticing. And that's a key thing, is notice what you're noticing. Now that you're taking this vision to the next level, pay attention, notice the plans. Continue to put yourself inside your vision and notice. And as John was about to write the last payment for the plans, it was a two-step thing. He said to the guy, he said, walk me through the house. And this was their fourth or fifth meeting. And now he was walking through the house again. And John was really noticing what he was noticing. And as you continue to work on your vision, this thing that you just started, pay attention to what it feels like. Really pay attention to what feels expansive and what feels, kind of constrictive, wherever you feel constricted by it. But back to John. He's walking through the house and he's noticing that it doesn't feel quite right. And he thinks, well, he says, if I'm never going to build the house anyway, I might as well have a really cool set of plans. And so he says to the guy, okay, he says, I want you to make these changes. Well, what would that cost? And the architect said, about $50,000. And John thought, well, if I'm not going to build the house anyway, it's not even a real $50,000. So by now, John is paying very close attention to what would I love. He's really, really dialing in on that one. So when you think about your dream and your vision, this version that it is right now, you know, build a vision that you really are in love with. That's really important. So the next step, yep, back to mom, who said, all right, you got your plans. What's next? What can you do where you are with what you have? What's next? And John thought he'd done about everything he could, but he stayed with the question. You know, to his credit, he stayed with the question and noticed what came up. And what came up for him was the idea to sell his house, rent something, use the money to start construction. So he went to a builder and he said, if I sell this house, how much will I have to start building the new house? And he said, the guy says to him, well, you got enough for a foundation, maybe part of the garage, but that was it. And remember in Mexico, how people build houses, you know, it's like the poco a poco plan. So John says, well, can I just lay the foundation? What happens if I don't keep building? And the guy says, nothing, you can do that. So all of a sudden, this thing that was a problem was actually an advantage. So just be open and curious to some of the things that you might be thinking are challenges around your vision. So John sold the house and he started construction. But here's where the story gets really great. I mean, you cannot make this up. When the house was for sale, a guy walked into John's office and said, I heard you're selling your house. And I want to see it. And John said, well, I'm leaving for the airport in an hour, but come on, let's go. His realtor wasn't even there at the time. So the two of them go to the house. The guy they walk around. The guy says, I'll take it. Okay. John says, well, when do you want to take possession? And the man says, well, when do you want to move out? And John kind of looks at him and says, well, I don't really want to move out. And the guy then says, well, he says, that's funny, because my wife we're only retiring down here in 5 years. So you can stay in the house. You know, we don't want to live in it just yet. 5 years from now we will, but not now. So he sold the house and he didn't even have to move. I mean, this is crazy, right? So he got the foundation, the garage, is going up there every single day with his plans. He's meeting with the construction supervisor. And I mean, just on fire with this dream. And one day he's standing there and he's kind of, you know, he's running out of money and he's getting ready to wind things down. And he's thinking, what can I do? And I mean, now he's with the program. What can I do with what I have, you know, right now? And a guy drives out and gets out of his car and says, hey, what's going on? And John says, well, we're building a house. And the guy says, really? Tell me about it. Well, at this point, you can just imagine, you know, I mean, John's got this house plan dialed in so deep, you know, I mean, he's just going on and on about this house. So think about your vision, you know, being really specific and able to articulate it well is a key element in designing a full spectrum life. So the guy said, wow, he says, this is really awesome. He says, I'm with Lehman Brothers and we're starting a new mortgage financing program down here in Mexico. When will you finish? Well, that's like, oh, that's the snag. And John says, I don't know. I've only got enough money for the foundation and the garage. And the guy said, well, you know, we really want this program to get going and take off. And if you can qualify, I know somebody that might give you a bridge loan. Whoa, shall I introduce you? And John's like, whoa, yeah, sign me up, right? So John met with the guy and got the bridge loan and continued to build and waited for the 80% completion mark to qualify for finished construction financing. And the inspector, at this point, he's coming out and he says, well, we're only at 70%. You need to do this, this, and this. Now, this was happening in 2007, and I'm sure you remember what happened with Lehman. Well, one day, John got a call from the broker who said, John, Lehman Brothers is going out of business. If your house doesn't close by Friday, the money is gone. This was Wednesday. So he says to the builder, you know, can we get this thing qualified by Friday? And the builder says, I don't know, we'll try. So the inspector came out on Thursday, but they wouldn't know if it qualified till Friday, if it qualified. So at 10 o'clock on Friday morning, John's broker calls and says, good news, your house qualified. Friday afternoon, at the closing, the broker says, man, this is crazy. Do you know your loan is the very last one on this program in Mexico, the last one. So the moral of the story is, you know, do what you can with what you have, knowing that you always have way more than you're aware of, way more than you're aware of. So now when you form a mental picture of your dream, get it crystal clear, just like John did, crystal clear. When you're clear, you become a magnet to resources you don't even know exist. This is what happened with that silly picture on a napkin. And remember that the quality of your life is framed by the quality of the questions you ask. And most of us ask very weak questions. What do I mean by that? What do I think I can do? What does my bank account say I can do? What do my friends think I can do or say I can do? So ask this instead. If I didn't believe it was impossible, what would I do? I love that. I love that. I love those two questions. What can I do with what I have right now? And if I didn't think it was impossible, what would I do? So right now, there may be a thought that's limiting you. And those limiting thoughts are actually constricting the flow of solutions and possibilities. You have to connect with the part of you that's open to possibilities in order to attract the ideas that will bring the fulfillment of your dream. If John had stayed caught up in the idea that there was no way that he could have his new home with that dream, if he would have stayed miserable in that tiny house with the screaming kids and no privacy, I never would have gotten an MFA. But with the help, he accessed a different level of thinking. He created that clear blueprint, even though it was, initially on a napkin, and he decided to act. He put himself on a different frequency. And I know a lot of you on this call, you know what I'm talking about, as did I. And in terms of your dream, that means you have to be specific and clear about what you want. It means making a decision for your dream by saying, yes, this is the life I would love to live. Yes, today is my day. It also means today's the day that you say no to doubts and reasons why you think it might not work, and to suspending belief in conditions. And this brings us to principle number 3, which involves overcoming what stops most people from bringing their dream right into their reality, and that is fear, F-E-A-R, which I love this acronym. It's false evidence appearing real. Yeah, false evidence. Napoleon Hill said the value of your decisions depends upon the courage, and that comes from the French cœur, which means heart, you have to make them. Building a full spectrum life requires the ability to suspend knowing how and taking actions in the absence of having all the answers. When we decide for a dream, there's a part of us that says yes, and there's another part of us that rises up and says, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. Or that voice may say, well, how are you going to do that? You've never done that before. Who do you think you are? You don't have what it takes. So, anybody ever heard from that part of them before? Anybody heard that one? Yeah. So, what is this voice? That is the voice of fear. That's what fear sounds like. It's a part of you that wants things to stay the same, stay status quo. And it's sly. It's really sly. Fear will disguise itself as practicality. Fear won't say, I'm here to kill your dreams. No, it's too smart for that. It'll say, I'm here to keep you safe. I'm here to make sure you never have to experience that level of pain again. I'm here to make sure your kids are taken care of. I'm here to make sure you don't get embarrassed or humiliated. It's the voice that says, now's not a good time. Wait until later. It says, you don't have the money for that. That's irresponsible. It's the voice you don't have the experience or the credentials. Who are you to have this dream? And it's the part of you that says, what if you fail? Well, okay, let's take that one. What if you fail? How many of you have never had a failure in your life? Yeah, right. When we're babies, we all start out as non-walkers. And as a non-walker, you gave it your best shot at taking steps. And what happened? You fell down. And what did you do next? You tried it again, and you fell down again. And never once did you fall down and think to yourself, well, that's it. I am just not meant to be a walker. No, you kept going until, finally you did become a walker. And sometimes, something weird happens when we become adults. We stop giving ourselves permission to fall down. We stop. We fail in business and we say, well, I guess I'm just not meant to be a business owner. Or we fall down in love and we say, well, I guess love just isn't in the cards for me. In truth, it's falling down and rising up that are key to achieving our dreams. You have to befriend fear. You have to give yourself permission to fail enough, fail faster, in fact, to succeed. And so often we see successful people and we never consider where they started out or how many failures they have had. People like Oprah, who was fired by TV executives and told she was not fit for TV. Or Spielberg, who was rejected from USC Film School like 3 times. J.K. Rowling, she was unemployed, divorced, single mom, raising her daughter, and Harry Potter was rejected by 12 publishing houses. Bruce Springsteen, the boss, fired from his first band. His manager told him he couldn't sing. And Henry Ford failed at 3 businesses before starting Ford Motor Company at the age of 53. Walt Disney got fired for lacking imagination. Imagine that. Fear and failure are prerequisites for achieving great dreams. So when the voice of doubt asks, what if you fail? Let your response be, bring it. I might fail, but if I do, I'm going to get up, keep going, and I will succeed. And realize that 80% of what you try probably isn't going to work, but the other 20% gets you amazing results. I mean, out of the ballpark. So fail faster. So how do we give power to that part of ourselves that wants us to move forward when we are hearing the voice that wants us to play small? There's a whole process that I take my clients through in my program. But for our purposes today, I'm going to give you one thing you can do. Remember, where your attention goes, energy flows. So when you notice your thoughts going towards limitation, interrupt the thought. Refocus your mind on your dream and take an action step. This action is key because it tells your subconscious mind that you are serious about your new result. So ask that question, what's one action I could take that would move me in the direction of my dream? What's that one tiny little thing I could do? And then take that action. Ask what's next? What can I do with what I have from where I am now? Take a look at what you've written down as your dream. Let's take a minute here. Take a look at that. And now I want you to write down what is one action you could take either today or tomorrow, but really soon, that would move you in the direction of your dream. What's one thing you could do? And please, please, please don't let yourself off the hook here. Pick something. Anything is better than nothing. There's absolutely some action that you could take to start moving in the direction of having a full spectrum life, a life you would love. And make sure you write it down and then put a date, maybe even a time, by when you're going to do it. So do that right now. Write it down. Write down your step. Even if it's teensy-tiny, it doesn't matter. Progress is more important than perfection. Taking even the smallest step toward your dream will make a difference. The key is to do what you can with what you have from where you are. Because the choices and actions that we take today are ultimately who we become tomorrow. Okay, so everybody got something? I hope. Susan, Mary, got something down? Yes? Yay? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Yay. Good job. All right, good. Everybody's got something. Yes. Okay. As promised, I have a gift for you, and then I'll close with a little story. But first, let's recap what we've covered. You've learned that there's a pattern to success, and when you expand your awareness of that pattern, your results naturally increase. You learn principle number 1, designing your dream. You have to have a blueprint of what you want in order to achieve it. And the clearer the blueprint, the more power you have. Number 2, the power of decision. You have to decide for the thing that you want in the absence of knowing how. It's just like, I'm going for it. And then number 3, befriending your fear, and how fear and failure are prerequisites for greatness. And we have to befriend our fear and shift, more importantly, shift the hidden beliefs. You have to identify the hidden beliefs, and you need help for that. This is not something to go Lone Ranger on. It's really difficult to do that. But I'm going to close with a story. But then first, I promise a gift. So if you're ready to take action on your dream, between my speaking and coaching, I carve out time every week for blueprint sessions. So 30-minute session on Zoom or phone where we get clear on exactly what you want and what you would love to create and the next most important step in the direction of your dream. Some of you may be ready to invest in something like that, but here's your step. For some one-on-one time with me, just go to my website. It's www.lizbull.com/schedule-consultation and book some time with me. If you're serious about living a full spectrum life, the link is that's what you need to go to. I'm going to close with a true story about William H. Murray, who's famous for discovering the southern route to Mount Everest, which made summiting Mount Everest possible. And Edmund Hillary, who gets the big credit for summiting, he wanted to put together a team to try to summit Everest. And so he went looking for Murray because Murray was a very famous, well-respected mountain climber. And nobody had summited Everest at that time. And Hillary said to Murray, we want you on our team. But each person has to come up with the money to finance this thing. And Murray thought, oh, I'd love to be on that expedition. But hearing the price, he said, no way. He said, no way I can come up with that money. So disheartened, he declined, and they went without him. They had a great expedition, but they did not summit Everest. A couple of years later, Hillary's putting together another expedition. And again, he comes to Murray and says, come on, we really want you to go. And Murray hears the price and says, I can't do it. I just can't do it. So they go, and they go further up the mountain this time, but they still don't summit Everest. A couple of years later, Hillary comes to him again and says, listen, we're going to go one more time. I think we're going to do it this time. We're going to summit this time because last time when I got off Everest, I looked at her and I said, I'm going to climb you because you're not getting any bigger, and I am. So Murray wrote about this in his book called, and I love this, Evidence of Things Not Seen. He said it took all the courage he had, but it caused him to ask a different question. Instead of asking how much it was, this time he asked, how much is the deposit? He said he knew he could get that amount of money. He had no idea how he was going to come up with the rest. And he said later in his writings about that moment, and I love it, right? This is a writer downer. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So you have a Mount Everest level dream. Everybody does. Everybody's got something that's a Mount Everest for them. And perhaps there's no clear path at this point, but that doesn't mean that the path doesn't exist for you. It just means you're not aware enough yet to be able to see the things that you can do to generate the result you want. In Murray's book, often quoted, he describes what happened for him. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy. I know you've heard this a million times, but it's worth repeating. There's hesitancy. There's a chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, namely that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come their way. He says, I learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it, because boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So you have a wonderful dream. You wrote it down. You can feel it. You made a decision for it. At least I hope you did. And to achieve your dream, you have to decide for it over and over and over again. You have to decide for it over opposing circumstances, over inconvenience. You have to decide for it over what's uncomfortable and when you don't feel like it. Because here's the truth. You have to commit to the dream and befriend the fear, because when you do, that whole stream of events issue from the decision, bringing up, all that stuff that's, creates the favorable winds that come from out of nowhere, really. But you never could have dreamt that they would have happened. Just like my buddy John, that guy turning up like, what, really? The bank downsizing, like, really, what? It's like, it's amazing, the sorts of things that will happen. So there's a power to that. And I just urge you to consider that what's in you is far greater than anything you can imagine. It really is. Any challenge, there's incredible power within you. This is your moment. Just go for it. Just go for it. So thanks for being here. It's really been a privilege and an honor to have spent this time with you today. And if you want more, well, you know where to find me at lizbull.com. Robin, thanks again for having me.